Good afternoon. Thank you everyone for attending today's town hall meeting. This town hall meeting is regarding an officer-involved shooting that occurred on Tuesday, June 27, 2023 at 4:01 a.m. at the Grand Gas Station located at 1401 Springs Road here in the city of Vallejo. The purpose of this meeting is to provide our community with the facts regarding the officer-involved shooting and to provide an opportunity for the community to offer any thoughts, concerns, or questions. I would like to acknowledge that we have the Assistant City Manager, Gillian Hayes, Councilmember Matulak, and Chaplain Brown in attendance. Thank you for being here. Before proceeding, I would like to announce to our audience that this town hall meeting is being translated in Spanish and American Sign Language for members of our community who speak those languages. A recording of this town hall meeting will be available for viewing on the city's official website in Spanish and Tagalog on the city's website. We will listen to comments and take questions from the community after our presentation. Please keep in mind that this incident remains an ongoing investigation. This town hall meeting will conclude at 6 p.m. Next, I would like to introduce Captain Knight.
Thank you, Sergeant Hollis. Good afternoon. My name is Bob Knight. I'm a police captain that oversees the reform efforts with the California Department of Justice. I would like to provide a brief background of tonight's meeting, some of the context of where we are today as an agency. This is our first officer-involved shooting that our department has had in over 3 years. During the past 3 years, the Vallejo Police Department has undergone enormous changes and improvements to its training, policies, community commitments, as well as our operational and administrative review systems. During that time, the Vallejo Police Department has also prioritized its efforts in focusing on a variety of premier training topics. These topics include officer training in areas such as crisis intervention methods, implicit bias, principled policing, cultural diversity, and procedural justice concepts. Use of force training to include less lethal force, arrest and control techniques, use of firearms, and use of our state-of-the-art virtual force simulator, as well as de-escalation tactics and scenario-based training. I will note that the officer involved in this incident has received the training that I just described. In addition to training, our department has increased our dedication to enhanced practices and procedures related to police accountability, community transparency, and internal reviews. One of these practices is the renewed commitment to community communication and outreach following an officer-involved critical incident. In an effort to foster community trust, build partnerships, and provide optimal information sharing, Vallejo PD has committed to town hall meetings like the one tonight, soon after the incident and within the neighborhood where the incident occurred. During this meeting, we intend to provide the maximum level of transparency by showing video evidence and factual information to the extent we can at this stage of the investigation. In addition to information sharing, we have enhanced our practices by designating a VPD chaplain as a family liaison to facilitate communication between the chief of police and the involved family soon after an incident. The spirit of these measures were also followed in this incident, and the chief of police has been in contact with the family during the early stages of this event. There are two very important processes that are now different since the occurrence of our last officer-involved shooting 3 years ago. One of the first processes is the revision of the Solano County Fatal Incident Protocol. This protocol now shifts the responsibility of the criminal investigation of the DA's office and the agency of the involved officer to the newly formed Solano County Major Crimes Task Force. Under this new protocol, the district attorney has final oversight of the criminal investigation, and investigators of the Vallejo Police Department no longer have direct involvement in the investigation of our officers' actions. The second change is an overhaul to our Critical Incident Review Board, often referred to as CIRB, which evaluates an officer-involved critical incident through the lens of agency improvement. This new internal review process is outlined in our recently implemented Critical Incident Review Board policy and was in effect at the time of this event. CIRB looks at an incident and analyzes several areas, including planning and decision-making, supervision, de-escalation and tactics, training and equipment, policy issues, and post-event response. Additionally, as part of this new policy, we have integrated a community member from the Vallejo community as a member of our CIRB board. When an officer-involved critical incident occurs, several investigations and processes are initiated. The first investigation is a criminal investigation. As I just stated, that investigation is supervised by the Solano County District Attorney and is conducted by law enforcement investigators at the Solano County Major Crimes Task Force, not the Vallejo Police Department. Another investigation that is initiated simultaneously is the administrative investigation, commonly referred to as the internal affairs investigation, which looks at individual employee conduct related to whether or not the officer's actions violated any department policies. An independent investigator from the Rene Public Law Group has been retained by the City of Vallejo to conduct its administrative investigation. Finally, the Vallejo Police Department Critical Incident Review Board is convened and made up of several members to include a deputy chief, a bureau captain or lieutenant, a member of the department training section, a supervisor within the professional standards division, a Vallejo community member, and at least 2 Vallejo PD subject matter experts. The CIRB board has already been convened in this case and has held phase 1 of the process that is called the Critical Incident Initial Review. As I close, as the Vallejo Police Department continues to evolve and improve over time, I would like to emphasize our dedication to community partnerships and express that we cannot do our job without the support and trust of the community. Thank you for participating in this town hall meeting tonight, and I would like to turn the meeting over to Chief Ta.
Thank you, Captain Knight. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jason Ta, Interim Chief at Vallejo Police Department. I also want to echo my thanks and gratitude for everyone here in attendance. This is, as Captain had mentioned, our very first critical incident in the last 3 years, and personally, my very first officer-involved shooting incident here at the City of Vallejo. What you're going to hear tonight soon is a summary of an in-progress commercial burglary that occurred in our city. Many businesses in Vallejo have been victimized by multiple break-ins and other crimes occurring in our city. There is strong community demand for our officers to be responsive and, when feasible, to make arrests. During arrests, I will tell you that there are times that our officers are required to use force in the performance of their duties. We understand that any force can be traumatic, particularly the force incidents that involve deadly force. We treat all force events very seriously, and all force events are required to be reported and required to be investigated by a frontline supervisor, a watch commander, and a supervisor from our professional standards unit. At any point, if there appears to be corrective action needed, it is addressed with either training, with discipline, or other corrective measures. So if we see that there's a policy deficiency or an equipment need, it's addressed in that manner. Additionally, each month, our Professional Standards Division provides a monthly report that summarizes use of force events and major incidences to my office. Part of our goal today is to consistently strive to earn and maintain the trust of those who we serve in the community by our commitment to transparency. And that's the purpose of this town hall meeting today. We will be releasing facts known to us at the moment, being mindful that there is an open criminal investigation conducted by the county task force. We will attempt to release as much information in a manner that's impartial and neutral, and we will hear feedback from you all and field questions to the best of our ability. And with that, I'm going to turn this over to Deputy Chief Gomez to summarize this event.
Good afternoon. My name is Joseph Gomez. You're probably wondering, who is this guy? I'm a new deputy chief here. I've been here about a month. And as the chief stated, I'm going to talk about the operational aspect, the call itself, and what happened on the call. So as we stated earlier, Sergeant Hollis mentioned the date of occurrence was June 27th. Officer-involved shooting, non-life-threatening injuries to the person shot and to the officer in this incident. Next slide, please. And we can go through that. That's been covered already. Next slide. All right there. So today we'll be sharing an audio clip of the call to the police station reporting the burglary in progress, along with video footage depicting the shooting incident from 2 body-worn cameras and 1 vehicle dashboard camera. A longer clip of those files covering the period from just before the shooting incident until the individual involved in the incident is moved into an ambulance will be made available for download from Vallejo PD webpage tomorrow. So we will post that. Longer videos have been redacted, of course, and this PowerPoint on our webpage. Please note that all audio and video files have been redacted as legally required by Penal Code Section 832.7, subsection B, subsection 6. Next slide, please. So I know a lot of you out there don't know police procedures, so I'm going to kind of explain this. This happened on the midnight shift, and here in Vallejo, they call it graveyard shift. And it was Squad 1, senior graveyard shift. And at that time, the people up here that you see were on duty. Now, they all weren't involved in the officer-involved shooting, and I'll explain as I go through this. So L1, if you listen to the radio, that's Lincoln 1. That was Lieutenant Watch Commander in charge of all of the officers on duty at that time. S1 is Sam 1, acting sergeant. It was a police officer. We didn't have an actual sergeant on duty, and when that happens, we designate an officer to take over as acting sergeant. We had 5 patrol officers working. You see 1 Paul 90 there. All the Paul units you see there are solo officers in a patrol car. So we had 1 Paul 90, solo officer, 1 Paul 2, that was the officer involved in the shooting, Officer Brad Kim. He was solo. And then the witness officer, solo, 1 Paul 5, and 1 Adam 8. When you see an Adam number, that's a double unit. That means 2 officers are in 1 patrol car. So we had 1 double unit working at the time of this call. Next slide, please. This gives you a schematic of where it happened, and that is Springs Road and Hilton Avenue. So the incident occurred at the southeast corner there. You can see the store there, and I can't see it from here. This happened, it came in at 4:01. The Vallejo Police Department was notified, but Communications Center received a call from ADT Alarm Company regarding a burglary alarm activation at Grand Gas, 1401 Springs Road, and we will play that audio clip. I'll let you listen to the call dispatch received.
Vallejo Police. This is ADT Security with a commercial burglar alarm.
The address?
1401 Springs Road, Vallejo.
Is that business?
It's a business. The name is Grand Gas.
Okay, how is it activated?
It's front area motion.
You have a phone number of the business?
Okay, so I'm
You
just
got a
gonna.
responder come in?
I thought he was done.
Not yet.
Okay, operator name or number? And a callback for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
So there are different types of alarm calls. There's audible alarm where you can hear it ringing, and as you heard there, this was a motion detector. So they caught motion at the front of the business. Now, many of these alarm calls are false. Yeah, where I came from, I've been a cop 37 years. Same thing where I came from. Many of them are false. So initially, it came out as an alarm call. So here in Vallejo, that's a priority 3 call. The highest priority, shooting in progress, stabbing in progress, that's going to be a priority 1 here in Vallejo. So just an alarm call, nothing further here. So it's a priority 3. Next slide, please. So 409, the business owners then call. So that's about 8 minutes later, right? Business owners that own Grand Gas, they call Vallejo PD Dispatch, and they report they're watching it remotely. And you can do that if you have that kind of system. They have that set up in their store. They're actually on the road driving, and they see the suspects inside their store. And they call the police to report that. So we get further information here. Dispatch reported they were remotely watching live feed video from the business, saw 45 people inside the gas station with masks on, and they had crowbars. 2 of them had crowbars. Dispatch updated the incident type from an alarm call to a burglary in progress. So a felony crime in progress, highest priority call. Now it's a 1 priority call. And we could play that audio clip, please. The business owners calling in.
Vallejo Police and Fire.
Yes, 1401 Spring Road, Vallejo. We can see people in our gas station.
Which gas station is that?
1401 Spring Road.
Okay, what is it called?
Grand Gas.
Okay, and what do you mean you can see people in there? You have this camera?
Yeah, we have a camera.
Okay, and what is this live?
What do you mean? Yeah, we can see them moving around.
Okay, can you tell hold on. Can you tell how many people are in there?
How many people been there? About 5 people.
And what's your name? What's your callback number? Okay, and this is live video, correct?
Live video. They already broke in the door and they're trying to break in the other section.
Okay, so I need you to hold on just for a second, okay? Please don't hang up the phone, all right?
No, we're driving right now.
Okay, ma'am, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay. So just bear with me here, because
Engine 24.
okay, so what are you still seeing on the camera?
They're
Hold on, you guys. I know. I just need one of you to talk to me, okay? I can't listen to both of you. Okay, so you can still see live video people inside.
Yes.
And you said there's 4 to 5 people, correct?
Yes.
And do you see any weapons?
Do you see any weapons besides them using?
No, those bars.
That long bar. I can't think of the name of it.
Okay, like a crowbar?
Crowbar.
And how many people do you see that have crowbars?
How many people have crowbars?
2 people.
2.
Okay, so 2 people have crowbars. Can you see descriptions of them, whether they're white, black, Asian, Hispanic?
Can you tell if they're black or?
I mean, totally covered.
They're totally covered up.
Masks and everything?
Yes.
Yeah.
Fingers, everything. They're totally covered up from head to toe.
They're on their way.
Oh, what?
And can you tell what color their clothing is?
Black.
A gray truck taking off on westbound Springs.
Okay. Can you still see people inside?
They went outside.
They're outside now.
They're outside now?
Southbound,
Yeah.
looking like it's going towards freeway.
Okay, so dispatch puts that out to the officers. The call is updated. Now it's really serious. So everybody that you saw on the screen, my first screen with the personnel, they are rolling to this call. Next slide, please. 4:10, all 5 patrol officers, the acting sergeant were dispatched, responded to the business at 4:12. They arrived pretty quick. That's 2 minutes. That's fast. 1 Adam 8, that's the double unit, once again. 2 officers in that car observed a gray Chevrolet Colorado. And if you're unfamiliar with the Colorado, that's a small truck. Flee the area, blacked out. So blacked out is a police term. I've worked at 4 police agencies. All of them use blacked out. For some reason, criminals think at night they turn off their lights. We can't see, they're invisible, but that's not how it works, right? They drive away, they got to hit the brake light. So it's actually easier to see them. But the truck blacked out, it takes off from the business. The double unit tries to stop the car, it doesn't stop, then that results in a chase, right, with code lights and siren. They try to stop the car. Vehicle fails to yield, leads officers on a pursuit. Acting Sergeant Sam 1 Paul 90, that's a single patrol unit, joined the pursuit, which terminated in Hercules. And the suspect got away from that vehicle, but was involved with others at the store. And we could listen to that audio clip.
Custom Vallejo units for 459 in progress. 1401 Springs Road, 1401 Springs Road at the Grand Gas. RP can see 4 to 5 people inside of the gas station. Live video.
These units clear and respond.
Paul 2.
On Paul 2. Sam 1.
Paul 3.
On Paul 5.
On Paul 90.
On Paul 90. 20 units fire in the ambulance route in medical 1936 Illinois.
Paul 37.
Code 33.
Adam 8, we got a gray truck taking off on westbound Springs, passing Humboldt.
Got a plate?
Adam 8, it's making a southbound turn, looking like it's going towards freeway. Adam 8, it's on westbound 80 from Solano.
Westbound 80 from Solano.
Adam 8, speeds are 70, number 1 lane, seeing westbound 80, passing Georgia. One I copy.
Sam 1.
So I want policy. 146, we have 1 in custody. We're out medical this way. Go 3.
Copy 1 in custody at the 1401 Springs Road. 1 Adam 8, you still in pursuit?
Take from number 1 lane, speeds are 100, continuing westbound 80, approaching 90.
So a lot going on there, right? You heard an officer come on the air there. Could you understand what she said? Very difficult, very difficult. You'll hear it better in another clip I show you. But understand 2 things are happening at the same time. The officers arrive, the Chevy truck takes off. They chase it down 80, which is Hilton and Springs Road, really close to 80 there. So it jumps on 80 and they try to stop the car, pursue it. But at the same time, the officer-involved shooting is taking place. So that's what you hear. One of the officers, when they have the suspect on the ground, they're taking him into custody, and you can see the stress in her voice. Very difficult call. This is very difficult, especially with just 5 officers or 5 personnel. Very hard. You got a pursuit going, plus people resisting arrest, and where other forces used at the gas station. So next slide, please. Let's see, 412, as the other responding officers initiated pursuit, the fleeing vehicle, which we talked about, Officer Kim arrived at Grand Gas, followed by the witness officer in another patrol vehicle. As Officer Kim approached the gas station, he activated his overhead emergency lights. including steady forward red light to the front. Officer Kim saw a gray 2017 Dodge Charger parked adjacent to the gas station with its doors open, several suspects inside the store. The Dodge Charger was later confirmed to be stolen out of San Francisco. Officer Kim pulled his patrol unit into the gas station lot, positioned it head-on to the Dodge Charger, and got out of his vehicle. As Officer Kim pulled in and exited his vehicle, one of the subjects began climbing a fence behind the Dodge Charger, and I'll show you that in one of the videos where that fence in the still shots. And another suspect exited the passenger side door and began running in the same direction. And I'll show you that too, it's really quick. Officer Kim drew his duty firearm in advance while giving commands to show hands. Next slide, please. Officer Kim directed his attention to an individual later identified as, I think it's Jamazea Kittell, who was seated in the driver's seat of the Dodge Charger. So a lot of things happening when Kim pulls up, right? One guy runs to the fence behind the Charger, he jumps the fence, the passenger jumps out of the Charger, he runs to the fence, and then you have a Kittell sitting in the driver's seat of the Charger. Let's see, with his firearm displayed, Officer Kim crossed over the driver's side front fender of the Dodge Charger while ordering Mr. Kittell to show his hands. Mr. Kittell turned the vehicle's steering wheel toward and drove the Dodge Charger into Officer Kim. Officer Kim's body lifted and landed with his torso on the engine hood as the Charger struck him, which you'll see in one of the videos. Officer Kim discharged his duty firearm 4 times as the Charger continued to accelerate away. Officer Kim fell off the front of the Charger. At least one round traveled through the windshield of the Charger, striking Mr. Kittell in the mouth. Mr. Kittell continued driving the Dodge Charger in a westbound direction out of the parking lot and across Hilton Avenue, where he collided with a gas meter at a business at that location. Mr. Kittell exited the vehicle and was taken into custody, and medics were requested immediately. Okay, next slide, please. So this is Officer Kim's, and before we play it, Officer Kim's body-worn camera. So I want to preface this with a few things. So body cam, the first 30 seconds does not play. It's like a buffering system. And I'm from Fresno PD, and we had the same system, Axon, same thing. First 30 seconds, it doesn't play, so you won't hear any audio in the beginning. And also, somebody had mentioned to me this the other day, a captain at Vallejo PD. He said the dash cam is so much better in some circumstances than the body cam, because you're going to see when you're actively involved chasing somebody or in the car. Body cam's not so good. Even when he gets out, you'll see Officer Kim run towards the suspect, and it's all jumbled. It's hard to read. But when you see the dash cam, very clear. The only problem with the dash cam is if you get out of the view of the cam, then it's not going to be a lot of good for you. But you'll see both here. Okay, so we'll play this clip. Yeah, first 30 seconds, it's quiet.
Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. That's fire. That's fire. Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Get off the fucking ground. Let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Hands out. 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 Put your hands out. Turn around. Yeah. Hey, cup. Scalping. You hit. Where you hit? My face. Hey. Do I want pump you? Just go. I got it.
Okay, so, what was that? That was the instant I described. The vehicle hit him. Officer Kim got out of his car. He had his gun out. He's giving commands the vehicle hit Officer Kim. He rolls off the hood, and the car goes across the street, crashes into a gas meter at the business across the street. Kittell jumps out of the car, and then Officer Kim takes him into custody. Assisting officer comes over and helps out. And there'll be better video, but that is basically what happened, what you just saw right there. I know it's difficult. It is with body cam. When it's active and you're moving like that, it's very difficult. Next slide, please. So this is the dash cam of the witness officer, and you'll see it's much better. And Manny, I may have you pause, so just be ready for that. You can start it. This is the assisting officer. She's rolling to the call now. And if you look in front, it's Officer Kim's car in front of her. And he'll pull in one driveway, and then the witness officer will go into another driveway because they're seeing people in the front in the car, so they're going to try and take them into custody. Then the witness officer goes to the other side. Pause it right there. Okay, pause it right there. Oh! I guess not. Take it back a little bit. Take it back. A little bit more. Okay, right there, stop. So right here, if you pay attention, I know it's fast, but as I described earlier, the passenger door opens. That's one of the suspects who's running to the fence. And in the prior video I showed you, you could see him actually jumping the fence, the suspect in the passenger door. So he jumps out. Kittell's in the driver's seat. And watch Officer Kim here. It's really quick. Okay, we're good. See, he goes over. Oh, shit! He moves the car, knocks him down. Kim runs after him. He jumps out of the car, and Kim stops him there. And the assisting officer drives over. She doesn't jump out of the car. She drives over to them, which was a good move. So very, very fortunate that the officer wasn't seriously injured. I've seen, just doing this career 38 years, many people get sucked under the wheels in situations like that, but fortunately he did not. And what that's the assisting officer, she's requesting a medic and letting dispatch know we have this guy in custody, arrested. And you can hear the pursuit. The pursuit's going on while this is happening. So two major critical incidents happening at the same time. Is that it? Okay, next one. Then this is the witness officer's body-worn cam. It's a little bit better than Officer Kim's. And we're good, Manny. But, you know, as I say, body cam in the car, I mean, you can't risk, it's capturing your dash. That's where she pulls in.
Oh, shit!
And she runs over to help him.
Hands out! Hands out! Put your hands up. Turn around!
And handcuffs him.
You all right, Brad?
Hey, stop. You hit. Where you hit?
Pause for a minute, Manny.
Hey.
So when something happens like that, critical incident, the officer knows he's shot, but he has no idea the suspect's even hit at that point. That's why you hear him asking, where are you hit? Are you hit? Where are you hit? He does not know. And keep in mind, suspect's laying on his belly. So you don't see any injury at that point. What we would do with somebody's injured like that, medical aid, is make sure they're not on their stomach and their diaphragm is pressed to that hard asphalt. that could impinge breathing. And you'll see they turn him on his side right away and then sit him up. And that's what you want to do with a facial injury. They immediately call for medical aid. Okay, you can go, man.
Just go.
Cuff him up.
Yeah. One policy. We got one in custody. Route medical this way. Go 3.
Pause for a second. So you could hear her better on this because this is her body cam, so it captures it better where she's requesting medical aid and that letting dispatch know he's in custody. And you can continue.
It's not moving. What?
I'm hurting, sir.
We're rolling this way.
Can I roll on my back, please? Can I roll on my back?
Oh, yeah. Gonna what? I did. Hold on. What? From what? Stand up. Stand up.
Okay, next clip, please. This is our suspect, Jamazea Kittell, 29, and he was not from Vallejo, not a Vallejo resident. Next clip, please. These are just some still shots. The front of Grand Gas, and this is from the other side of it. The closest car is Officer Kim's car, and the one further on the street is the assisting officer's car. Next slide, please. Again, you see the yellow placards there. That's where the suspect, the Charger, had been. And the front of the car sticking out there, that's Officer Kim's car. And across the street, you can see assisting officer's car. And the right photo is, again, where the Charger had been backed in, facing northbound. And that's the fence there in the back where the two suspects ran and jumped that I referred to earlier. Next slide, please. Again, the left slide, assisting officer's car. You can see in the alley the suspect car crashed into the building. Better shot here on the right of the suspect car hitting the building, or where it hit the building. Next slide, please. And this is close-up where it struck the gas meter. And then a side shot here of the Charger. And and this is the last slide, I believe. This is where the bullet went through, at least one bullet went through the windshield, and then there was another strike on the driver's side passenger door. Okay? Next slide, please. So that's the end of my presentation. We'll be opening up to feedback here. And I'd like to invite up Sergeant Hollis. Come on.
We will now transition to the community engagement portion of this town hall meeting. Before we will begin, I will provide you with the courtesy expectations for this segment. In order to create a safe environment to express yourself or ask questions, we ask that all parties adhere to the following courtesy expectations. Please be courteous to everyone here. Listen to others respectfully. We understand that this can be an emotional topic. Please remember that we are focusing on this critical incident and not more broad issues. Please refrain from personal attacks on others. Failure to adhere to these courtesy expectations may result in dismissal from this auditorium. If you would like to speak, please line up behind this podium to my right. Please understand that due to the short time that has transpired since this incident, we are providing the maximum level of transparency that we can at this time. Due to the multiple ongoing investigations you've heard about, we will not be able to provide further information or provide additional details beyond what we've already shared. Thank you in advance for your understanding. For any future inquiries, you can contact myself, Sergeant Hollis, the Public Information Officer, at Vallejo PD, PIO, at cityofvallejo.net. This town hall meeting will conclude again, like I said earlier, at 6 p.m. or after the last question before 6 p.m. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please line up now. No questions, comments, or concerns? Yes, sir.
My first question is, what was the point of showing Mr. Kittell's face mugshot? What was the point of showing Mr. Kittell's mugshot? And not the officers?
So we're required, I mean, it's a public record when somebody is arrested to provide that information. Part of the new policy enhancements that we've implemented with respect to these type of events is to provide the information of the person arrested as well as their ethnicity and the officer involved's name.
Officers involved wasn't, his picture wasn't shown?
No, his picture was not shown.
I was just wondering, was there damage to that Charger on the driver's side where the officer allegedly was hit?
You saw the still photos?
Did you see any damage? Was there damage?
The damage is what it is, so correct.
Okay. My gentleman friend from Fresno, who I was born and raised in Fresno, we were reminiscing about Chief Dyer and his style. This is what Chief Dyer did when he was, so I'm not surprised that you're using the same tactic to show to the community. It was mentioned that Officer Kim rolled onto the hood of the Charger. Did he roll onto the hood of the Charger, or did he roll onto the side of the Charger, on the bumper of or the fender of the Charger?
The hood.
The hood? The whole hood, or just part of it?
The hood.
The hood. All right. It's a big hood. I happen to notice that Kim didn't complain of any pain or feeling any hurt. You mentioned that he was immediately stood up but he was searched before he was stood up, right? Although I appreciate this event, this town hall, I'm concerned of the time. Why was it chosen at 4 p.m.? Why was 4 p.m. chosen as the time to do this town hall?
This was the time available. And
for who? For you guys or the general public?
This was the time available that would serve the logistics here, as well as provide time after 5, for the public to attend as well.
Do you think if you want to really do the transparency and to regain the trust of the city of Vallejo, the general citizens, do you think a much later time would probably be a little bit more appropriate so that you could have possibly double the size?
That's valuable feedback, and we appreciate that. That's part of this process. So this is our first, And so we appreciate any feedback you have or anyone else has that we can learn and improve this process.
This is your first town hall as far as critical incident, but you have done other town halls that you have started at 6. So but this is just your first involving a critical incident, right?
Correct? Thank you for your comments.
You know, I have a similar concern. I've been following this issue for about several years, and having this incident discussed at such a small forum, I really am concerned. I mean, it's 4 to 6, that hardly anyone is here, and we've had previous meetings on this very same issue. It's been an ongoing issue for many years, the relationship between the Vallejo Police Department and the community. So here we have this incident discussed at a very, very small forum, and to me it just seems like more of the same. People that I have notified about it, my friends have said, you know, what's the point in going? We've said it, they've heard us, and now it's at 4 to 6. I'm not going. And, you know, we just keep on talking about the same thing. Thank you.
Yep, thank you for your comment. And we did disclose 7 days after the event where we were going to have this town hall meeting with the location, the time, and the topic. So thank you for your feedback.
You have a question. Can you answer where the suspect was shot? Was he shot in the chest, in the head, in the ear?
I don't have that information specifically. I know he was shot somewhere in the mouth region. So as described earlier, there is an independent investigation criminally being conducted by the county task force. So as this event unfolded, that task force was initiated and they conducted the criminal investigation. So at that point, Vallejo officers were removed from that process, and what we're sharing with you all here, the public, is the information that we have. We don't have all that information.
So you're telling me you don't know where he was shot?
He was shot somewhere in the mouth region, so I don't have the specifics on the injuries that he might have sustained, all of them.
So during the presentation, you all mentioned that there was a bullet hole on the passenger's side of the car. Was that a hole that was shot from the driver's side? Or was there another officer shooting from the other side?
There was only one officer that shot during this event.
So there was one bullet hole in the window, and the other bullet hole was where exactly?
According to the picture, there was one on the side of the vehicle.
Passenger side, driver's side?
Driver's side, according to the picture.
Okay. The back, I'm not understanding. Where was that second bullet? One was in the windshield. The other one was in the driver's door?
No, the driver's side, sir.
The driver's side?
Correct.
The driver's back door?
I'll have to look at the picture, but I believe it was a rear driver door. Correct.
That's correct. That's correct. So that's not making sense to me. The picture right here. How there's a bullet hole in the back door and then a bullet hole in the windshield. But he was being ran over, or he was on the hood? What? It's not making any sense at all.
No, there's 2 bullet holes, one in the front windshield and one in the rear driver door.
Rear driver door?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And he got shot in the face?
Correct.
He couldn't have got shot in the face from the rear driver door, so what happened? Did the police officers shoot first and then climb to the front of the car and shoot again? It's just not adding up at all.
Yeah, the video is what I can comment on and what I can tell you. And so the shooting occurred as he was on top of the hood, and then it, as you saw in the video, it progressed the way it did.
He could have reached around from the hood and shot the back door, could he? Is that possible?
Yeah, that investigation is again part of the county team, and so what I could share with you is what I have been able to share with you. Thank you for your comment.
Could you point out where the bullet went in on the door in the picture? Can you just point to it with your finger?
Ma'am, there's a picture, just for everybody watching on this recording and in the audience, there's a picture on the right that looks like it has what appears to be a hole to the left of the handle on the rear driver's side door.
To the left of the handle on, okay.
Correct.
Good evening or good afternoon. I just want to thank the Vallejo Police Department for opening up this opportunity for the community to come and ask questions and for you to be so transparent. I know that we've been rebuilding a relationship, the community with the police department, and I just want to acknowledge that. And also, I know that you are extremely short-staffed, and I know I'm a little nervous. Short-staffed, because I know you're going to be recording this so that folks can watch this afterwards. So I've been sharing that with people in my community and in my neighborhood. So if you don't have an opportunity to get here at this time, you can watch this. And being short-staffed, I know is difficult. I've lived here in the city of Vallejo my entire life, and you know, we're at a critical point. So appreciate you keeping our streets and our families as safe as possible. And so I just wanted to make sure that I said that to all of you. So thank you.
Thank you for your comment.
My name is Jean Lykover. I've lived in Vallejo for 40 years. I appreciate you having this. However, the time is like really bad, and the seats are all crowded together. Was hard to find parking. You need to consider that. A lot of people commute. So if you are going to continue with these informational meetings, you need to think about having parking for people and having it at a time that people can attend. And I know that somebody else said that, but I just want to emphasize it. Second, I want to talk about the shots. Now, how many shots were fired by Officer Kim? My understanding was that he shot 4.
I believe 4.
Okay, so one of them hit the windshield, one of them hit the rear driver's side passenger backseat door. What happened to the other 2? Did they recover the bullets? They obviously missed the car.
Yeah, I don't have that information, ma'am. That is part of the criminal investigation.
It's okay. Who is doing the independent investigation?
The Solano County Major Crimes Task Force, which is overseen by the District Attorney's Office, is conducting the criminal investigation.
That would be Krishna Abrams oversees them?
Yes, ma'am.
And who are they affiliated with, the Sheriff's Department?
The county task force is comprised of detectives from all the different agencies within the county. And once an agency, for example, our agency was involved in this event, the other detectives from the other agencies participate in the investigation, not our detectives. So for example, if there was an event that occurred in the city of Benicia, for example, then our officers would take more of an active role in that investigation, and the Benicia detective on that county task force would not. So that's kind of, in essence, how it works.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Now, I would like to know if the public information officer, whose name I have forgotten, brought a lot of business cards, because I'd like to get one before I leave. And
yeah, we can provide
for everybody,
yeah.
Because I will direct further questions to you. Sorry for forgetting your name. And I would like to comment about, we hear all the time in the news media how the department is understaffed. And yet I see you have 7 officers here, and a lady veterinarian who practices in Vallejo, who happens to be my vet, was attacked on a public sidewalk by an ex-customer of hers, and when she called the police dispatch, they were rude, which I have called the police dispatch, and they have not improved any. I called them several years ago. I've never called back because they were very rude. I'm sorry if they're overworked, but there is no excuse for them being rude. Anyway, they were rude to her, and no one ever showed up. And she went down to the 111 Amador, according to her story, and tried to get help so that she could file a police report so she could get the woman who assaulted her arrested, and she didn't get any help there either. So it's interesting to me that you can get 7 officers here for this informational meeting, but when someone is being beaten on the street, they don't get any help at all. Like, I'm sorry you're understaffed.
Yeah, I understand the frustration. Yeah, I understand the frustration, and this is very important to us. Obviously, we don't have an officer-involved shooting event often. The personnel you see here are supervisory staff. They're not frontline officers. So in other words, they are not responding to calls for service. We do respond to calls by priority. I did actually have a follow-up meeting with the person you talked about. We were able to provide her additional police services, and it does look very fruitful that her case is going to be packaged and reviewed by the district attorney's office. So I agree with the fact that we cannot provide the service that we would like to, but we are doing the best that we can with the people we have.
In some ways, considering the quote-unquote service that was provided to all the people that were shot to death by the VPD, maybe it's a good thing that the service isn't ongoing, because that's a lot of killings in 20 years. And and one more question, and then I'll shut up. Thank you for your time. When Officer Kim got out, he had his service weapon out already. Okay, so I would shoot somebody who hit me with a car too if I had a weapon, right? And I would search them before I rolled them over too, because if somebody hit me with a car, obviously they're dangerous, even handcuffed. I would search their pockets before I rolled them up. I don't have a problem with that. However, why did he have his gun out when he got out of his car? Could you explain to me how the use of force policy covers that?
Ma'am, I will provide you with my information, and we can go into details at a later time. We're just trying to stick
That's
to
cool.
specifics.
I want your card. Don't let me leave
Of course,
without it.
I will not let you leave without my card, I
Okay,
promise
thanks.
you.
And just as a side note, part of the town hall planning is for us to have the town hall in the area that this event occurred. That's why, there were some logistical challenges with parking and with seating and finding a place hastily in the area. And so we do appreciate your feedback, and if and when this event happens again, we will take this into consideration. Thank you, Gene.
Hi, everybody. I'm a resident of Vallejo for at least over 35 years. I'm Latino, I live in the Crest, and I participate. I decided that I gotta get involved with this. Since I've seen how the police has been moving better and better and better. And people don't agree with it, they should get involved. I make the time. I work in San Francisco. I came over here because I want to be here. I want to see what you're doing. And all I hear is complaint. The things that happen with people who does not live over here and come to commit crime over here. I think it's time that we have to take a stand with it. And I travel around. I see El Cerrito, I see Oakland, I see Berkeley, I see San Francisco, and I see them that everybody's suffering from work. We don't have enough police department. But we don't have enough workers either. So people is here complaining that why is the shooting? When they are in that situation, they should know how it happens. I decided that I want to find out, so I joined the academy, I went the community, so that way I can find out and I can understand why the way the things go, the way the police work. I got involved. I'm involved in San Francisco because I work there. I'm involved here because I live here. I love Vallejo. I've been here over 35 years, and I get involved with the community. So I said to all the people that come over here, let's work on that. I live in an area that it was considered unsafe, but I still work with my neighbors. So we put webcams across to see, we support each other, we call. If something happens, we all call the police. That you guys make it there or not is understandable sometimes it's not, but it happens. And it's the same thing. I work in an area in San Francisco where we've been having robberies, we've been having people broken in there. I run a Hispanic chamber, and believe me, we have calls every single day. And that's because it's not enough police. Well, we should do something about it. And I mean, the community should be doing something about it. And if we want to find out over here, look, we're wasting money right now on getting a building for you guys. We should have done that already a long time ago. Whoever we have working, managing the city, they're not doing a good job. But you guys are up front. And when I see police in there, I feel safe. Because I know, regardless what I look, and I am Latino, and I've been targeted, and whatever you want to do. And I remember when in Vallejo I was racial profile. But that has changed. That has changed. Why? Because we get involved. If we don't get involved, we don't make changes. But we don't get involved just to criticize the police. We need to get involved to support what it is, to support our own community and participate. So, I'm telling everybody in Vallejo, you want to do it? Go visit. Go attend the meetings. Go find out. I made the time to come over here from work because I wanted to find out, and I want to tell you I support you guys all the way.
Thank you for your feedback. Thank you. I wanted to just add just one thing that I think I neglected to mention earlier. So we talked about the Solano County Task Force investigating the criminal aspect of this event. So there's actually 3 distinct actions happening. So I want to talk about the other 2, just real brief. When Captain Knight was up here, he talked about a critical incident review board. So we have that, and we had held that. What that review board does is it holistically looks at our overall kind of response to this event. So it looks at policies, it looks at procedures, it looks at equipment, it looks at things that potentially we could improve on quickly. The other part of the curb that is brand new is that now instead of just having an expert, so we have a subject matter expert looking at whatever the event is. We have somebody from our training division, part of our curb board. We have different parts of the command staff, but new to the curb board is a community member. So that community member provides us insight on how the community would perceive some of these internal variables that we are evaluating. So that is also new. And then lastly, I wanted to talk about the administrative investigation, as it was referred to earlier, the internal affairs investigation. That is outsourced to an independent investigator. So we are also once removed from that investigation. That is also in an ongoing effort to provide additional trust in the investigation. So we are not doing our own internal investigation. We are not doing our own criminal investigation. And then we are embedding a community member within our internal review of the CURB process, which is the critical incident review process. So I just wanted to just put that out there as well. This is all relatively new policies that we are adopting. This is the first time for our agency to put out this much information this quickly. This is within 14 days. I mean, it's unheard of, and it's very difficult to get this information, particularly when we are not the lead agency in the investigation. From a personal standpoint, what was required of me was, as all these other entities are getting involved at 4 a.m, when I'm getting the call and I'm hitting the showers and I'm getting ready to come in for this, we have to connect with all of our partners, all of the people from the district attorney's team. We actually had to have the the Department of Justice evidence team help us, so we had to coordinate with them. Of course, we had to coordinate with our internal staff, and then we had to coordinate with the media. So we did an initial media release early that day. Then we did a press conference, finishing the work day, and then that evening I did speak to the mother of Mr. Kittell. and then the next day I spoke to his wife. So lots going on. I think that we learned a lot from this. I think we can do better next time. We're not perfect, but I just hope that, with the information we're able to provide you today, provides an additional layer of trust, because we truly do want to earn community's trust. We want to maintain it as best as possible, and the way that we're doing that is providing as much information as we can without jeopardizing the open and ongoing investigation by the DA's office. So thank you all for coming tonight, and if we don't have any other questions, then I would refer you guys to our PIO for additional questions. But as you know, this is not our investigation, so any further public information releases relevant to the criminal case is going to be provided by the district attorney's office. Thank you very much.